We have crypto entering easy mode once again, but the question remains, how long will it last? Will we have continuation of this upthrust that we're currently seeing in price? Will there be a pullback? We'll update on the trades that we took over the course of yesterday, and we'll also have a look at Ethereum, which is showing some signs of life and promise. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. If you look at the banter bubbles, well, a lot of the coins are up over here at double digits. We spoke about that. If USDT dominance were to drop to some of the intended targets that we had, we said you could see double digits and possibly even triple digits on some of the coins. And that's currently what we're starting to see. That's your daily outlook. There's your weekly, there's your triple digits, right? 108% up on 𝗪𝗶𝗴𝗵. I'm sure Pepe is not far behind. Gala Games, even some of the gaming coins, putting in a bit of a bid, but that doesn't require much because the market cap of these gaming coins now is very, very, very low. So I definitely think it's one of those times in the market where you still want to keep your chips really consolidated and very, very close to you so that you can essentially fold at any point in time if you do need to, as opposed to blindly bidding absolutely anything on the chart, throwing a dart at the chart. We might be in easy mode, but I don't think that we're necessarily in that easy mode with now millions of different crypto coins having been created, tens of millions of different coins. I think that the market still remains relatively selective in terms of which coins are going to be bid up, right? So if we look at the last 24 hours in terms of liquidations, well, we've seen the liquidations come down slightly, and that's following those big moves, right? You had the big short liquidations over there, almost $1 billion worth. That was a couple of days ago on the 8th of May. And then you wrecked both the longs and the shorts multiple times. And now you can see that's starting to squeeze in, right? Yesterday was a pretty low day in terms of liquidations. All that means is probably going to consolidate a little bit before the next major move. And I'm sure you're all wondering, is it up or down, right? Well, currently the daily exchange volume is still rapidly increasing towards the upside. And I'm not convinced you're going to put in the usual high highs and high lows over here. Remember, if you do go into easy mode where everything goes into full-on greed and you start these parabolic advancements or these moves towards the upside, well, you could see the 7-day daily exchange volume increasing rapidly like this. And this is a true sign of FOMO. If you do see that, that becomes a very, very strong profit-taking zone. And I think for anyone out there who was caught up in many, many different positions that maybe you didn't want to hold when prices were lower, well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to consolidate. I'm not necessarily advocating that you exit all of your positions or anything like that, but at the very least, gain control so that it's easier to manage your portfolio. It's very difficult to manage a portfolio with 100, 200, 300 different coins, and it's much easier to manage a portfolio with 3 or 4 different coins. So use the advice if you do want to, right? If we look at Ethereum over here, the crowd is bearish. Can you believe it? And the MP is also bearish over here, which is MP stands for the smart money. They also relatively bearish at these current levels, which means you could see continuation of the squeeze on Ethereum towards the upside. I think one of the most offside trades that are currently on the market, a lot of people not on the right side of that trade, and therefore it could become a hated rally. So we'll have a look at that. Here's ETH. You got liquidity towards the upside, 2,750. That's more or less one of the areas that I'm currently targeting. That's 328 million, which is pretty sizable, right? These are bigger than what we've seen in terms of some of the Bitcoin liquidation levels, right? So relatively decent over there. We can have a look quickly at BTC and its liquidation levels. So let's quickly go to that over there. A little bit of liquidity on the downside, 7 million, right? Comparing to that 300 million that you got on ETH, if ETH does actually squeeze a little bit higher over there. And you've seen a long-term trend line over here. There it is, right? Long-term trend line. This is, it's not the main trend line. The main trend line theoretically has already started to break on ETH BTC, but this is the trend line from June 2024. So almost a 1-year long trend line, and you're actually starting to breach that level. So a little bit of optimism should come into the market, and maybe a little bit of repricing in terms of the sentiment over here. So if you can start to squeeze those ETH longs, as we've shown over here, or ETH shorts, excuse me, on the 12-hour basis, and you can start to push up into this. You can liquidate a whole lot of them. That can cascade price a little bit higher. And the intended targets that I have, first and foremost, is 2,800. After that, I'll look to about 3,000. And then if you can make it past that level, it's the yearly open, which is almost at $3,300 for ETH. So that trade is going pretty good. I don't know if I took it on the show. I don't think so. I think it was only with the whale room members yesterday. So congratulations if you're in on that trade, right? If you look at the market cap ETH dominance over here, of course, bouncing off of those lows, nothing moves up in a straight line, but it's a good sign of a potential reversal, right? There's some signs of life. So eventually you may see it come back down again and put in a bit of a high low, but nevertheless getting a strong reaction off of that key zone. These are the trades that we outlined yesterday on the Monday range trading strategy yesterday. So up 21% on Aptos, 35% on Fartcoin, 17% on GigaChad, 20% on Shiba Inu, and 25% on 𝗪𝗡 real world asset play over there. So continuing to hold these positions over here. In the greater scheme of things, if you look at Aptos, this trade is only just getting started. This is the ones that we took over here on Bank. This is kind of like deviating, reclaiming your trading range. So if you can continue to maintain this, you could start to lead into a pretty explosive move towards the upside. We'll relook some of those in just a moment. I think is this Aptos? Here we go. Here's Aptos. So there's Aptos. There's your range levels. Ultimately, it'd be targeting up to the mid range, which is around that $11-12 region, right? So all in all, looking good over there. A reminder for those of you that do want to learn how to trade, remember, I'm essentially paying you to join Whale School for free, right? You can't add any more value than this. It's literally free to join. You don't have to pay the $2,000 ticket price to get into Whale School. And if we are going to be moving into, of course, this part of the cycle, let's just quickly, how do we get rid of this over here? Let's see. Just click on that. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going through a damn quiz over here. I don't want to do the quiz. All I want to do is show you what we're looking at in terms of this part of the market cycle. And this is under the course content over here in Whale School. So we're looking at this phase over here, right? We possibly moving into, the final phase as you start to see things transition from Bitcoin into ETH. That's what we're currently looking at over there. The flow of money goes from Bitcoin into ETH. Are we actually seeing the market cycle respect what we previously saw in the other cycles? It is possible, right? Taking it each step at a time. But if you go into the market cycles lesson number 10 in Whale School over here, this is essentially what we cover, right? And there's a specific way that you want to have your portfolio position leading into that, right? Should you have a concentrated or diversified portfolio? So for those of you that basically want to get paid to join, it's first come, first serve. We have 5 days, 4 hours left to go. How are you getting paid to join? Well, essentially, I'm going to be paying for you to get a Bitfunded account. That's only for the people that unlock full access and stay till the very end of the course. That is basically my gift to you if you complete the course, right? So for the first 500 of you, I'll be giving you a $15,000 Bitfunded account. For the next 500, you'll get a $10,000 Bitfunded account. And for the following 500, you'll get a $5,000 Bitfunded account. There's the value of those Bitfunded accounts, which means you'll be trading with real money, right? You'll be trading with real money over there. So that is only available while we are taking signups over here for the course. How do you get in? Step number 1, go through to one of the links in the description below. Check out one of these partners. Sign up. Let's just quickly close that out. There we go. Are we not on mute over here? Are we not on mute? Hardest, we haven't been on mute the whole time. And you guys didn't hear that. Luckily, the volume wasn't loud. So sign up using one of the links in the description below over here. Then go through to the Whale School page and then sign up. Literally, use your user ID. So for example, if you've signed up to Bank, it will provide you with a user ID. You'll use that user ID to get in. And then for those of you who actually complete the full course over here, where you'll get a Bitfunded account. Okay, let's get into the course content, right? So gold, we're still watching gold over here. It is at a pretty key level. We need to see it drop this pink zone, right? If gold drops this pink zone over here, typically that would be a move from flight to safety, which is the gold trade, into more risk-seeking types of trades, which means stock market goes up, crypto goes up, M2 money supply continues to go up, and then hopefully we move into what Roll Paul calls the banana zone, right? He says we're in phase 1 of the banana zone, and there's 3 phases. So we can transition into phase 2, and then later on into phase 3. I prefer to take a much more cautious approach. I'm not calling for 150K Bitcoin, 250K Bitcoin. We take it one step at a time because at this phase of the crypto cycle, as the thumbnail suggests, go look at the thumbnail for today, runaway bull market loading, right? Well, I would say we're already 70 to 80% of the way through that runaway bull market. A lot of the coins did move up exponentially, right? We saw things like Solana do 30x returns, right? Bitcoin did 7x returns already and counting. That is already a bull market, right? So we're trying to just squeeze the last bit of juice from the lemon for the final phase. And that could be if you see gold break down this key level over here. We're starting to put in that lower high structure. We're going to get our first lower low and a break below this key level, completely breaking structure on the daily time frame. That's what we're waiting for over there. S&P 500 squeezing back above the 0.786 level. That's 5,800, which is a very, very, very good sign. If you can now consolidate above that level and hold this zone over here, you could start to challenge the all-time highs. And then usually you don't see these double top scenarios in the stock market, right? So it's very unlikely that you do something like that. It's more likely that you'd consolidate, pause, and then bulldoze through that level, and that's going to be good for crypto, right? DXY as well, starting to come down here, which is a good thing. Now we want to see, this is coming off of the fair value gap. So there it is, fair value gap from this abnormal candle on the left-hand side, hit that target, started to come down. Now you want to break under the yellow box and really start to accelerate towards the multi-decade trend line, which for the DXY is coming in around that 95 region, depending, of course, on when it does hit, right? Total cryptocurrency market cap also pushing up over here. This is a pretty significant zone to get through. We've already seen Bitcoin clear that level. Now we want to see the rest of the coins do the same thing. So total cryptocurrency market cap needs to clear 3.46 trillion. That's going to be a very, very important zone. Total 2 is already breaking above the order block, which is a good sign. Total 3 over here also now finally clearing that order block, right? As of yesterday, the candle was looking pretty bleak yesterday with a bit of a wick. And that could have looked like, started to look like a big bull trap, of course, if it did break down like that. But good to see it pushing up. Now we want to see it move towards $1 trillion, probably a little bit of a pullback, and then you can reload on those long trades. So here's your Bitcoin chart, right? Approaching the value area high of the volume range over here, coming at $106,000. I think that as long as you keep consolidating over here, you're simply creating the order block, prepping for the next move towards the upside. And the target for that's going to be between $120,000 and $130,000. And I'd probably definitely be taking profits within that zone, right? So all in all, that's looking good for Bitcoin. Same plan, right? Remember, the stop losses are below here at $95,000 if you're long on Bitcoin. So we tag the fair value gap moving up towards the top side of the trading range. The longer you can consolidate into this zone over here, the higher the chances are that you're just going to smash through, right? Because the final line in the sand for the bears really is that they're targeting this 0.786 level and the 0.886, and they're building up shorts within this position, which means if bulls can continue to add pressure by holding price sideways over here, the bears will ultimately capitulate on their short trades. And that when they close a short trade, essentially by closing a short trade, the definition would mean you're buying back into the market, and that's what creates that squeeze towards the upside, right? So once you get that squeeze, take profit. If you're in a long trade, take profit off that squeeze, and then you can always reload. I'm pretty sure you'll come back and test this level again as support, and then you can reload, especially if you're on leverage, right? So the most important chart to me right now is this chart over here. It's the USDT dominance, which is at a pretty critical level. We had a couple of trap scenarios yesterday shaking you out of positions. I was long and I jumped out of those longs over here, and then I got back long as soon as it broke back below those regions over there, right? Because I have to be safe, right? At the end of the day, this was a risk of becoming a deviation, a back test, and then USDT running up. If USDT did run up over here, it would have damaged all of the long trades. So the longer we remain below this level and you SR flip this region, so from previous support, flip it into resistance, the better, right? Personally, I would love to see USDT dominance not even come back into this region, but instead just start to mark down. I'm looking at the possibility of, in terms of Elliott wave, wave 1, wave 2. Now you're going for wave 3 acceleration down, wave 4, and then the final wave, which would complete that 10% move that we were targeting into the yellow zone over there, right? That's what I would like to see. That's the general idea. So this would mean, obviously, rapid appreciation of price, another spike up for the rest of the market. Things like ETH on this move down could go to $3,000. Then you probably put in a bit of a pullback within this zone over here, and then you leave it, you send it down one more time, right? So general guideline or plan for what I'm looking at, of course, things change each and every single day, which is why it's so important that you put the bell notification on and you come through and you watch each and every single day. So as for ETH, right? I'm in a really, really sizable ETH trade over here. It's ultimately reclaimed the Monday high back tested into the Monday high. It's still holding that level. And as mentioned, these are the next targets for me personally, right? I'll highlight them on the chart over here. So first area of interest, I'm looking for a move up here into 2,800, right? If you can hold that 2,800 and flip that into support, next level becomes 3,000. And then if you can flip that level, ultimately we're targeting the yearly open. And that would be where I'd probably close out the rest of this ETH trade, or at least take substantial profits. And then I'd consider re-entering lower. But we have to correlate what's happening on the USDT dominance. If ETH does do this, right, this over here, and it gets all the way up into these zones, then I'm expecting ultimately this for the USDT dominance, which is that move all the way down into the yellow zone. So I'm probably going to be full TPing into that area. Okay. So that's what we're looking at over there. But I'm not only focusing on ETH with the key level tools over here, looking at the Monday levels, I'm also looking at the USDT dominance, right? So as you can see, USDT dominance as well is fast approaching the yearly open. Let's quickly correlate and see where's that yearly open relative to the other chart, 4.31%. So this down here, where do we have it? 4.31%. I should probably mark that off on the chart. Let's do that. Let's put this in over here, 4.31%. And we'll just remember that is the yearly open, just so we can line up with this chart. Very, 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 very important, this level that we need to watch as price comes into the yearly open for USDT dominance. Okay, cool. So we'll keep an eye on this, right? The general idea is if USDT dominance comes into this area, you want to be a bit more cautious, consider taking some profits into that zone, and then correlate whatever your altcoin or whatever trade you're in is doing relative to its yearly open. So for me on ETH, that takes it all the way up to this 3,300, right? Cool. We've covered that. What else do we have left? So ETH on the low time frames, I'm kind of just tracking it even as low as like the 5-minute time frame. Good to see it getting back above the 50 EMA over here. I'd like to see it continue to maintain this trend. Generally speaking, all the beautiful moves that have happened on ETH have been off of that cross between the 50 and 200 EMA, right? There it is, right? You cross 50, 200 EMA, leads price from 1820 all the way up over here, actually went even higher, all the way up here to 2,600. And then this is where I got chopped in and out of that trade a little bit, right? When you started to lose those, compress, and then we reclaimed again, and now you've started to lead for the next move up. So all in all, that's looking relatively decent, and hopefully we can hold up over there. So let me know in the comments if there is any other chart requests that you have. Let's see quickly in relation to our other trades. Let's move this up over here. So let's quickly view on the, the key levels tools. Where's Aptos? How's Aptos doing? Okay, Aptos actually reached the full TP. So it swept the Monday high. So that actually reached the full TP, and you can see started to break back into the trading range. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a chance over here, because I can see, fair value gap over here. You came back, you back tested that level. So theoretically, you could possibly have, similar to ETH, trend continuation from here, reclaim the Monday high, and then you can start to expand towards the yearly open. So I've left those trades open. I didn't put any hard stop losses, but this is literally the trades given yesterday live on the show. And then I went into Whale Room and I dropped all the information over there. As you can see over here, let's just quickly go. As you can see over here, I went into Whale Room and I dropped all the information over here with each and every single one of those Monday trades. So here they are, all the Monday trades, right? I gave the full watch list. Here's all the trades. We're looking at the Aptos trade, gave it live in there, gave all the other ones. We gave Toncoin, we gave Sonic, we gave Near, we gave, we've gone through all of those. What other ones did we give? We gave C-Pool, we gave Shiba Inu, and all of these are up. GigaChad, Fartcoin, all of those trades are in there in the Whale Room. So if you're not in Whale Room, that's where you get all the extra information, right? It's not only me. You have the other traders over there. We have Farouk, we have Chris, we have Josh, we have Singh, Wall Street, Singh over there trading the traditional markets as well. Anyway, let's continue. So how are the other ones doing? Fartcoin. Let's quickly go to Fartcoin. I assume most of these breached through the Monday high and took out those key levels, which is a good thing. There we go. Pretty much full TP, right? Beautiful, beautiful trades yesterday. Really looking good. Look at that. Absolutely perfect wicks directly into the Monday high. And that's a full trade. Great, great, great stuff. What's the other one that we have over here? GigaChad. Let's see how Giga's doing. GigaChad was the other one. Okay, I didn't take all the trades that I gave there. I only took some of them. Okay, this one not moving as quickly as the rest. I'd probably eliminate the risk, move stops to break even underneath those lows. You don't want to see it come back down. And hopefully this still makes it up to those yearly opens. And then we got Shiba Inu and 𝗓𝗡. So let's quickly go to Shiba Inu. There we have it. Okay. Also similar to GigaChad, hasn't fully played out the move. I mean, you could move stops to slight profit over here. I'll give it a little bit of a chance to get going. I don't know if I'd move my stops below those high lows on the hourly. I think it's a bit too close. And then the last one that we have to look at over here is 𝗓𝗡. So let's quickly see 𝗓𝗡, 𝗓𝗡 USDT. Okay, 𝗓𝗡. Almost tagged that Monday high over there. So putting in a little bit of a pullback today, but we'll see if there can be reaccumulation and if prices still end up closing green, right? For now, they're mostly just range bound in terms of these tokens. And just to give you some perspective, remember what happens following a big move up and sideways ranging price action in bull markets or in runaway markets, you typically see this just turning into a bull flag, right? Bull flag and then continuation higher. So if you can time a good enough entry, eliminate some risk and give it a chance to really get going, you could be buying, the bottom of those bull flags and looking at continuation higher. That's the general idea there for some of those trades. Okay, what else? 𝗧, sure, we can have a look at 𝗧. Feel free to drop your requests over there. Let's quickly see 𝗬𝗎 first. So 𝗬𝗎, all in all, looking pretty strong over here. It's still holding up. It never swept the Monday low over there. But the thing is with 𝗬𝗎, it's already hit the yearly open. 𝗬𝗎 has been a leader. What's useful about this is even if you didn't trade it, you can use this as a little bit of a guide for what could potentially come next, right? So the expectation is that, for example, when ETH hits the yearly open, my plan is to take profit, right? But if 𝗬𝗎 is kind of leading the market, and 𝗬𝗎 doesn't reject off the yearly open and put in a sizable pullback, but instead just consolidates over here and leads into another move towards the upside, that can be a leading indicator to tell you that, maybe whatever coins you in, once they approach their yearly open, there is actually a chance for continuation higher, right? So we'll keep an eye out on that one. Let's go to 𝗧. Right. 𝗧 was the other one that we gave in terms of a long trade over there. So let's go on the lower time frames over here. Pretty much played out as well in full. We swept the yearly open. We have not yet taken out the Monday high. Just monitor those trends. And as long as it continues to, I guess, maintain, I would probably, raise stops into slight profit over here. 315. I don't want to really say it come below that 315. It should hold that and then start to mark up towards the Monday high. Okay, AVAX, we can have a look at AVAX. I think there might have been a trade there as well. So AVAX, you swept the Monday low, beautiful move towards the upside. But I think the problem was when we had a look at this yesterday, it was already trading somewhere around here. So we missed it, right? We couldn't get that trade in. That's AVAX. Okay, PopCat, sure, let's have a look at PopCat. For now, I'm just looking on these low time frames because we're really just playing it each day at a time, taking things easy. So this one worked out. Pretty much we called that close enough. That move over there, you haven't yet taken out the yearly open. You can eliminate your risk on that PopCat long trade. Okay, buy stops to break even, right? Cool. What else do we have? Maybe we should have a look at some of the high time frames, like on the dailies. So we can look at these. Let's just quickly see Solana on the daily. Okay, cool. It's looking okay. Next big level for Solana is clearly going to be around this 203. This was quite a big zone that led to the breakdown. Oftentimes you revisit those, that we call them order blocks, right? An order block is an area that consolidated and led to the breakdown. You might see price revisit that. Don't necessarily expect fireworks through that level. You probably want to be a bit cautious. If you see an explosive move straight through, right, you mostly always come back to anyway, back test it, and then later on you'd continue. So that is Solana over there on, we're on the 5-day. Let's go on the daily over there. There we go. That's better. So it actually somewhat played out that inverse head and shoulders that we had previously been looking at for Solana. Okay, ENA. Sure, let's have a look at ENA. I think ENA usually does well when ETH does well. So that's probably why some of you are looking at that. And yeah, it's not too bad, right? ENA came into key support over there, swept that level, decent over there. For a lot of these coins, map out those fib levels, right? So first area to be cautious is going to be that 0.382. That's coming in at 66 cents for ENA. If it can breach that level, your next level becomes the 50% level. And then after that, you can look up to the golden pocket, 618 to 65. Okay. Goku, yes. Let me mention something about Goku quickly. Someone sent me something over here. 1 second. I believe they've been doing massive burns. Let me quickly get this for you guys. This is crazy. So here we have it. Okay, let's quickly open that up on screen. They have a whole lot of stuff going on over here on Goku. So Goku, they burned 1.732 million Goku tokens, right? Massive, massive, massive burn over there. And if you look over here, they also have this PFP generator, profile generator. So if you do want to look at that, I guess you can go through to their page over here. Let's quickly see. What do they have? Do they have, here's the contract address. Let's go have a look at Goku quickly. So we need our DEX tools. We haven't looked at Goku for quite some time. So let's quickly see what's happening on Goku. And let's chuck in the contract address. Okay, how is Goku looking? So, no, is this correct? This can't be correct. This can't be the correct Goku. Surely not. Let me just go back over here. I might have clicked on the wrong one. It must be this one. Okay, there we go. That looks better. It said like 5.6K market cap. So $5.9 million market cap over here. Let's get a bit more perspective on the daily. So some 5,000 holders, decent move over there. And ultimately, yeah, I mean, next level of interest, Goku can easily move up to 0.015, right? 0.015. It looks pretty strong. It's had a nice long consolidation. The longer the consolidation, the bigger the next move. That is 165%. And for those of you wondering, I hold every single one of my Goku tokens, right? I haven't sold a single token, so I still have everything. All right, cool. What else? What else, guys? Let me know in the comments. Also, by the way, I really encourage you guys to take your safety and security seriously. There's been some insane things going on, right? Beyond this, let me see if I can find that message. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find this. This is absolutely wild what's going on in this space. Let's just see. Here we have it. So firstly, I mean, they tried to, if you have a look at this is insane. Today, a crypto exchange CEO's daughter and granddaughter were nearly kidnapped in Paris. So many bad things seem to be happening in Europe lately, especially in like France. There's a lot of these. Remember the last time they took the Ledger guy's business partner or something and cut his fingers off, which is insane, right? Because they won ransom. 3 masked men tried forcing them into a fake delivery van, and then the father fought them off. One dropped a gun. Absolutely insane. There was actually like a whole video of this, right? I think he has the video. I won't play the sound and stuff, but there's the video. They're like trying to capture the person. Literally wild stuff. So stay safe out there. Also, look at this. Another person almost got scammed, right? As the market goes up, you know, people are getting more and more crazy. And we haven't even reached that like peak euphoria. We haven't seen an alt season quite like what we saw back in 2017, 2021. I really think you guys have to stay safe out there. Be careful what you're sharing online. Protect yourself. Look at this person, deep fake Zoom call impersonating a Polygon team member or founder was sent by someone that he knows in real life. And long story short, through Zoom, they basically try to hack him. So look, there's a couple of things that you can do. First, protect yourself in terms of having a ledger or some sort of hardware wallet, especially if it can be like some kind of a multi-sig, you know, where somebody else has part of the keys, someone that you trust. That way, they basically need to kidnap both people to get the keys. That's the first thing. Come up with strategies and plans to protect your long-term HODL positions. Secondly, I mean, don't go to dangerous areas. Thirdly, don't get scammed by sending money to anyone. That's the easiest way. Don't ever send your crypto to anyone. If you are having meetups with crypto projects or anything like that for whatever reason, make sure you create the Google link or the Zoom link and you send it to them, right? So that they can't gain access over your computer. And then the other thing is simple, right? You can obviously get a VPN. Protect your IP address with a VPN. We are partnered with NordVPN. If you click the link in the description below, yeah, they're giving you 74% off of a 2-year plan, which is really, really good, right? 74% off a 2-year plan. We are affiliated with them. I think that they're one of the best that's out there. You protect your IP address. So firstly, the criminals can't track you. And secondly, it makes it much harder to get hacked or targeted through some sort of a phishing site. Okay, anyway, stay safe out there, guys. Stay safe out there. So let's continue. Let's go. What else have we got in terms of chart requests over here? Okay, let's see. Anything else looking good? Anything that you guys see on your watch list where you're like, this is literally in the buy zone right now today? Because yesterday I went through the whole list. The Monday range trades were the best ones that I could find. I don't know if there's anything that's lining up for today. Look, in terms of SUI on the daily time frame, I must say this is probably going to lead to another move up, right? And you can see that you have this falling wedge structure, broke out, and now I think ETH is in a very, very similar place, right? If you look at ETH, you're also very, very similar, right? So that's why I'm interested to see if ETH is gonna follow the same kind of trajectory. So there it is, falling wedge structure. Just look at these comparatively to one another, right? SUI, falling wedge, came into key support, one big move up, small pullback, second big move up, consolidation, right? ETH, falling wedge structure, one big move, consolidation. It hasn't really had any sort of a pullback yet. I mean, this thing could blast through still over here, then put in a pullback above this zone. So that's currently the picture over here of what we're looking at. Okay, bearish chain. We can have a look at bearish chain. I think we took a trade on, we did take a trade on bearish chain, but that one is using the bots on Pinex. But let's have a look at bearish chain anyway, since that's one of your requests. So there it is, bearish chain. Okay. Let's see. Let's go on the hourly. Okay, I can't remember exactly where we entered. I think we're somewhere down here. So we had a beautiful move over there. This one already swept the Monday low. You know, if it reapproaches the Monday low, theoretically, you could still take the long trade over there. The hourly is shifting structure slightly, but let's see the 4-hour. 4-hour, I would treat this more as a consolidation. So I think if bear chain does come back down towards the Monday low, you can see this is pretty key support over here, right? Prior support, there we go, flipped into resistance, 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 potential support, and potential support, right? So if it holds that Monday low, possibly a decent area to start to trade this back up towards the previous month's mid. Remember, we said the yearly open is a bit too high because this coin launched at the start of the year and just instant dumped. Okay, that is bearish chain over there for you. XRP, yeah, sure, we can have a look at XRP. Where is XRP? Here it is. Okay. Man, what is going on? This chart is such a mess. Let's clean this up a bit. Okay, let's see. Let's clean from there to there, and let's just delete that. There we go. Nice. Okay, XRP. So first, let's look at the daily. I mean, it's holding up okay. It is holding up okay. Where's the yearly open there? Actually, this one's already above the yearly open, which is pretty insane. You know, XRP is just in a massive range. That's the only thing I can really comment on this. You know, I'll treat this as the main resistance area over here, and I'll target up to there. If it can get above that and hold, you know, then you can start to look at fib extensions. But for now, you know, I wouldn't necessarily long this right here, right now. But if it can start to reclaim that, it looks decent. Okay, AIXBT. Sure, we can have a look at that again. AIXBT. We did this yesterday though. AIXBT. Let's. Not that one. 1 second. Let's do that again, guys. Apologies. AIXBT. Okay. Here it is. Okay, AIXBT still looking decent, consolidating over here. I mean, this is getting ready for the next move up. So you can go in the lower time frames. AIXBT is still holding, right? It swept the Monday low, decent, reclaims it, broke that trend line. If you look on the lower time frames, it will look like this, right? Broke that trend line, started to move up, hasn't taken out the Monday high, but you have to look for perspective on the high time frames, right? So there it is. On the high time frames, so long as you can keep consolidating over here, eventually you can possibly flip this, this key level here into support. So this area, you want to flip that into support, which means get above the Monday high, which is going to be the level to flip, 23 cents. Flip that into support. It takes time. You need to allow this to consolidate, right? You need to allow it to consolidate. It might range, and then you should get a pretty big move up. I don't know if you'll make it all the way to the yearly open, but you know, at least up to about 43 cents, I would say. So you're going to be targeting over here into this zone, at least into this zone over here, 43 cents. Okay, how's ETH doing? See, okay, ETH losing it's 5-minute time frame, so very, very low time frame. You need to see this reclaim and start to get this posturing up. It might just range a bit. It had a huge move, so it might just chop about and range here a little bit. And then we'll see later on today, maybe going into the US session, they begin to bid up ETH again a little bit. Okay, what else? The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is, remember, we are dropping a lot of these trades in what we call the daily candle, which is the newsletter. There is a link below for you guys to subscribe. It's completely free, right? If you go over here, here's your crypto newsletters. You can subscribe to all of those. There's a lot of alpha, good morning crypto, daily candle, whale crypto trades. And ultimately, we dropped a whole bunch of trades in here: Ethereum, Chainlink, BitTensor, Cardano, Sonic, and Nano, right? A lot of different trade opportunities over there, and they're free. And these are actionable. We're not giving you 5-minute time frames. So these are trades that you can actually take. So if you don't want to miss those, and the charts are there for you, all easy to read, use that link in the description below over there. Okay. We've given AIXBT. Wesley, bro, did you not just listen? I literally just went through it. Maybe you wrote that a while ago and the comments coming through slow, but I literally just covered that. Okay, let's go to render quickly. Let's see, where is render? Back on our other charts over here. Okay, there we go, the key levels charts. Let's go render. Okay, how is render doing? Render, we also took a trade on render, right? A long on render. Look at that, looking good, looking really, really good over here on render. Still holding up. You haven't taken out the Monday high yet, right? So again, just like ETH, I really want to see most of these coins for continuation. I've given render like twice, right? We gave the first trade over here. We gave the second trade over here. Now, if you can see render break, hold the Monday high, then you can start to squeeze and target towards the yearly open. That's what we're looking at for render. Okay, Casper also had a pretty decent move. So we'll have a look at Casper as it's still holding up. So let's go daily for a bit more perspective. Really nice. It's got back above the yearly open. What's looking good about this is, what do you have? Consolidation, potential manipulation and deviation back into the trading range. Theoretically, any pullback into 10 cents could be an opportunity for a move up to the range highs. And if you break and hold above the range highs over there, you tend to get expansion, right? Expansion much higher. So we did identify this at the time, right? As soon as you broke that level, we said, watch for the potential deviation back into the range. We target over here, and that instant rejection, and then reclaim. When is the next Whale School cohort live session, Stacy? Yeah, the next cohort is going to be, again, if you go into the links in the description below, it's all over there, but we begin in 5 days. So where does that put us? I think that will be on Monday. We start on Monday. So for all of you that want to join, Monday, we begin with Whale School. Remember, Whale School is not just a regurgitation of information, but we actually giving market relevant information to the current conditions. And if we are going to lead into full-blown easy mode alt season, this could be your last chance to make life-changing gains, right? From the final altcoin season. Maybe it will be the last altcoin season. Maybe we won't see alt seasons like we've seen ever before, right? So make sure that you join. Be there. Make sure that you're there. 5 days left to go. I think I've already given away 300, or at least set aside the money for 300 of these $15,000 accounts, right? For those of you that join preemptively that you're going to finish. So there is still spots available for those of you. Remember, first 500 of you that join and complete Whale School, you get a $15,000 account. The next 500, you get a $10,000. The next 500, you get a $5,000 account. Links are all in the description below. You have to have an exchange below to get into Whale School. So I can recommend, any of these, Blowfin, no KYC over there. One of the best exchanges to trade on, high liquidity. They use Fireblocks. Use the links that are in the description below. All right, guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate each and every single one of you. Let's see if our trades play out. I will be on the charts all day for those of you in Whale Room. I'll update you as I have been every step of the way, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you all have a good day, and cheers for now.